Very, very important when we're working in a seller's market as well too, to be very responsive. So this is where your agent is going to make a massive difference, as well as you yourself are going to make a massive difference in the process. Let me explain. In a seller's market, where there is properties coming up on the market and the demand is really, really high, but the supply is very low, what's going to happen is properties are going to come up on the market and they're going to turn into sold very quickly. In fact, you'll notice that the days on market really shrinks. Normally, the average right now is roughly about 40 days, 42 days. In those sellers market days, they're probably about maybe 10 days, 7 days, maybe less. So, what I would recommend is be the first to see it. All right, so how to handle a seller's market. This is probably really good if you want to go back to my other video that we've talked about multiple offers. They could go hand in hand. My name is Fady Khudair. I'm a local realtor with Sutton Group Ottawa, and Kanata on the Rocks is a channel to be for anything real estate related. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe so you can get more and more videos like this and all the tips that you want to know about real estate. So, how do we handle a seller's market? Really, first off, what's a seller's market? Well, a seller's market is when there's low inventory, which means there's a bunch of buyers, a lot of demand, and very little homes to go around. In Ottawa, on average, we do about, 1,800 to about 2,000 transactions a month. That's regular. Some months are a little bit lower, some months higher. But just to kind of give you an idea, that's the average, right? And we always, to be able to kind of tell and see if it's a seller's inventory or not, take a look at the inventory that's out there. If we see more than, 4 to 6,000 homes on the market, that's actually a decent market. It's some sort of a balanced market. But it's a problem when we're not seeing, 2 months of inventory or 2 months or less of inventory. That makes it very, very hard for the buyers like yourselves to go out and start purchasing homes because, again, what you're looking for exists, but there's so many people that are fighting for it. Multiple offer situations. So let's talk about some of the things that you want to do when it comes to a seller's market. The first thing first is do not do any lowballs. Lowball offers are obviously going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to piss off the client, the seller. And two, it's going to just completely shoot you out and you're going to be regretting this and you're back to square one looking at more houses. Now, when you're in a seller's market, always assume that you're competing against other buyers. And the reason being is because the seller has the right to tell you sort of what offers that they have, yes, and also what's included in that offer. Now, they have an obligation as a seller's agent. They have an obligation to tell all other agents that, hey, there is other competing offers. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, and they also have an obligation to tell if those competing offers are coming from the same brokerage or they're coming from a different brokerage or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, if they are coming also from the same agent, because you want to be very upfront and honest, and we want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. But they don't have an obligation to tell you what is transpiring within the offer, right? I don't have an obligation to tell you that, the last buyer offered me 25K more than you did, or the last buyer had offered maybe a better closing date. It's only if the seller decided to give that ability or the seller decided to let the listing agent do that, then you have that ability to see it. So don't ask for it, don't bug it. Unless the seller is willing to do it, it's not going to happen. Now, many agents will actually recommend maybe 1 to 2% just around or hovering over the asking price. It's not strict. It's not always the case. It really all depends on the situation, how many offers. And this is where you really just going to have to rely on your agent and the expertise they have to, first off, figure out how many offers are there, figure out the asking price if it's really legitimate, and see just based on the situation, like, is this something that I'm going to be overpaying or not? And also, this is where you falling in love with the house is not going to be, unfortunately, in your advantage. So what do you do in those situations? Possibly a larger deposit. And again, this is something that I would love to kind of just talk about, and we've talked about already in our multiple offer situation. A larger deposit is definitely going to set you apart from the competition. It's going to allow for the seller to take a look at your offer as something serious and something that has a lot more skin to the game. Another couple of things that you could do to also make things work in your advantage, possibly writing a letter for the seller. And this actually ends up working like magic for you because it does touch on the sort of emotional aspect of it, right? The sellers had bought this house and they were attached to it when they bought it, and it's still their home technically. So they want to kind of feel like they're giving it to someone that loves it and deserves it. So that's one option. Another thing that I would really highly recommend, don't ask for favors. Don't ask the sellers to potentially paint the whole house inside out. Don't ask for anything above and beyond because you're technically shooting yourself in the foot with multiple offers in there. It's just not going to look good on your situation. And obviously, the seller wants to do what's easy for them. They want to move forward with an offer that makes sense with the least amount of work, the most amount of money. More money, less work. Think about it this way. The biggest thing that comes to mind when you're working in a seller's market as an agent, make sure that your agent is fully prepared. And how do they do that is by, again, taking a look at all the sales that happened in the area, take a look at all the comparables, make sure that you're putting your best foot forward with the offer. The offer price is not really that far from what is right for the property. And in the same token, call the other seller's agent and figure out exactly what they need. Work with them on a win-win-win situation. And when I say win-win-win, the agent is happy, the seller is happy, and you as the buyer is happy. It's really all about making sure that everybody gets the most out of the deal and you're not overpaying, but in the same token, you're getting the home of your dreams. Very, very important when we're working in a seller's market as well too, to be very responsive. So this is where your agent is going to make a massive difference, as well as you yourself are going to make a massive difference in the process. Let me explain. In a seller's market, where there is properties coming up on the market and the demand is really, really high, but the supply is very low, what's going to happen is properties are going to come up on the market and they're going to turn into sold very quickly. In fact, you'll notice that the days on market really shrinks. Normally, the average right now is roughly about 40 days, 42 days. In those sellers market days, they're probably about maybe 10 days, 7 days, maybe less. So what I would recommend is be the first to see it. When the property comes in, and this is, like I said earlier, this is where you and your agent really have to be in very much in sync, right? The property comes up on the market. I see it first. I send it to you right away. We book the time and we go see it right away. We want to act fast and we want to see things fast so we can have a little bit of breathing time to make that decision quick. And when you make that decision, make sure you really love that house. This is where I recommend not to wait all the way until the weekend or, it's Thursday, I'm just going to wait until Friday or Saturday. Really jump ahead, get it done, take a look at it, see it. And you know what? You might have time to see it again on the weekend. But if it's your property, if it's something that you really love, you don't want to waste that chance and let it go completely to the next buyer that's prepared and ready. The biggest issue in the seller's market is that homes don't stay on the market long, especially if the area is very popular. I'll give you an example. Back in the pandemic days, we would put a listing up and it's within 2 days sometimes within the same day, we get multiple offers and it's sold because of the demand being extremely high and the supply was very, very low. So just be prepared, be aggressive, and jump and be prepared. And I can't stress enough that fact that you have to be prepared. This is where pre-approval is really good to have ahead of time, the down payment in your account ahead of time, the deposit ready to go in your account ahead of time. You're fully prepared. You're basically prepared. And again, I can't stress it enough. I probably said prepared how many times this video, but it's really, I'm trying to drive that point home. You cannot go to the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning without being prepared the night before. How are you expecting to buy a $600,000, $700,000, $1 million home in a very busy market just like that if you're not prepared? For everything real estate related, Kanata on the Rocks is a channel to be. My name is Fady Khudair. I'm your host here at Sutton Group Ottawa. And if you like what you see, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe so you can get more and more videos like this and you learn everything about real estate there is to know.